It's not like LA, it's not like New York, it's not like Chicago. Detroit is all about, hustle. It's all about hustle. Even the here, they all about their hustle. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna disrespect they said either.
The Red Zone, a war zone, where police and neighbors knew Sonny ran the 7 Mile Bloods gang. Drugs, guns, and fear. Corey Bailey, the feds say, was a kingpin.
Detroit has long been a battleground for street gangs, with the Bloods playing a major role in shaping the city's gang culture. Over the years, multiple Blood-affiliated sets have emerged, each with its own identity, alliances, and conflicts. Many of these gangs operate under the Five Alliance, a structure that connects different Blood sets across Detroit and ties them to national factions such as West Coast Pirus and United Blood Nation. The Bloods in Detroit are heavily concentrated in areas like 7 Mile, the Red Zone, Dexter-Linwood, and Zone 8. Some of the most influential sets include 5-5 7 Mile Bloods, SMB, 82 Headbanger Bloods, 50 Zone, Murder Gang, and Jungle Stone Bloods. These groups maintain a strong presence in their respective neighborhoods, often engaging in violent rivalries with Crip-affiliated gangs, four-dropping sets, and Vice Lord factions. Despite their differences, many Blood sets in Detroit share deep-rooted connections. Some started as Piru affiliates, while others formed through breakaway factions or by merging smaller crews. Over time, alliances, conflicts, and evolving gang politics have reshaped the landscape, leading to shifting loyalties and new rivalries. With the rise of social media and the rap industry, several gang members have gained notoriety, further intertwining street culture with music and public influence. This guide explores some of Detroit's most dangerous Blood sets, their origins, affiliations, and key figures, providing a deeper look into the history and ongoing influence of Blood gangs in the Motor City. The Fives in Detroit's East Side primarily trace their origins to the 5-5 7 Mile Bloods. Within their culture, the number 5 holds multiple meanings. It represents the 48205 zip code, the core of their territory, and also signifies their Blood's affiliation. Initially, SMB had connections to the Sex Money Murder Bloods, which is why they originally adopted the 5 as a symbol of their allegiance to the United Blood Nation. Over time, their ties to West Coast Pirus strengthened, further solidifying their Blood identity while continuing to use the 5 as their primary symbol. As the 5-5 Bloods grew in influence, they became known for their 5 starlet, a key representation of their allegiance and identity. The 82 Headbanger Bloods later adopted the 5, borrowing elements from Vice Lords and the People Nation, which helped expand its significance beyond just 5-5 SMB. Over time, the 5 symbol spread beyond the East Side, becoming more widely recognized among Blood sets across Detroit, including those on the West Side. While the distinction between 5s and 4s in Detroit remains a defining aspect of gang culture, the rivalry between these factions has seen shifts in dynamics over time. Despite historical tensions, younger members from both sides have occasionally formed alliances or cliques, reflecting the evolving landscape of Detroit's street culture.
Tonight we're getting a rare look at the life of a Detroit gang kingpin.
The feds say Corey Bailey, better known as Sonny, ruled the notorious 7 Mile Bloods gang, and he did it with extreme violence.
A whopping 19 members of this gang have now been convicted in federal court. And at the very top of that list, the gang leader, who once controlled an entire Detroit zip code.
They've been after him for years.
Corey Bailey had just been sentenced to life in prison. Why? Forget the name Corey Bailey for years. The feds say he ran the Detroit zip code 48205. As the infamous gangster Sonny, or C-Murda. 48205, the Red Zone, a war zone, where police and neighbors knew Sonny ran the 7 Mile Bloods gang. Drugs, guns, and fear. Corey Bailey, the feds say, was a kingpin, rapping about his exploits online. And when gang members started putting hit lists up on Instagram, everything for Corey Bailey and his 7 Mile Bloods started to crumble. Social media, cell data, the best friends to federal prosecutors. DPD, ATF, DEA, FBI. They flooded the red zone. They made arrests and put Bailey on trial for mafia-like charges, looking to lock him up forever.
Gang. It's part of one of the Fed's ongoing efforts to dismantle that gang and others wreaking havoc in the city. The Now's Jonathan Carlson live on the east side with a look at this story. Jonathan?
Hey, yeah, good afternoon, guys. That gang calling this area the red zone here, and the U.S. Attorney says if she has her way, they'll soon be out of business. Take a look at the area that we're in here. U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid talking to us in her Detroit office moments ago. She's handed down a handful of indictments. A sweep, months in the making, nabbed a leader of the 7 Mile Bloods, one of the city's most violent gangs, claiming this area off 7 Mile on the east side as their own. She says Detroit has a neighborhood gang problem as opposed to some other major cities, which see a wider spread presence. And to reduce the problem, she says officials are hard at work on prevention to reduce gang recruitment.
The feds are one step closer to dismantling one of Detroit's deadliest gangs.
The FBI nabbed one of the heads of an operation that's been terrorizing the east side of the city. 7 investigator Jonathan Carlson has the story.
Hey, good evening. We're in that gang's backyard, but the snake just got its head cut off. U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid rounding out the week in her Detroit office today with a handful of indictments. The feds and law enforcement partners making progress in their war on gangs in the Motor City.
We're going after their leadership.
McQuaid says a sweep, months in the making, included the arrest of Billy Arnold, a leader of the 7 Mile Bloods, one of the city's most violent gangs, claiming this area off 7 Mile on the east side as their own.
The 557 Mile Bloods are a well-established blood-affiliated gang based in Detroit, an area widely known as the Red Zone. Their territory spans East 7 Mile, Regent Park, and 7 Mile and Hayes, historically serving as a stronghold for Bloods and People Nation affiliates, though Vice Lord also maintains some presence in the area. SMB is deeply embedded in Detroit's gang culture, aligning with the Five Alliance and fostering strong ties with Campanella Park Pirus and MOB Assassin Pirus, particularly through their West Coast connections. Members take pride in their Red Zone identity, often referring to their territory as the Green Zone as well. The gang's influence is heavily concentrated in Regent Park, 7 Mile and Hayes, and East 7 Mile, with an expanding suburban presence in East Point. SMB consists of multiple subsets and cliques, each contributing to its identity and street presence. These include SMB Juniors, Hob Squad, 726 Hob Squad, Hob City, 55 Grinch Gang, 212 Block Squad, Rider Block, Shotta Gang, Atom Block, SMO, and Push or Press Gang. SMB traces its origins back to the Ruthless Clan, an earlier Detroit-based street organization that later transitioned into SMB. Other predecessor crews, such as Headbangers and YGBZ, played a role in shaping the gang's current structure. The 82 Headbanger Bloods are the largest blood set in Michigan and one of the most prominent in the Midwest, with a presence extending beyond Detroit into Ohio, Indiana, and Minnesota. They primarily operate in Ravendale and Dead Zone Morningside neighborhood, with multiple subsets and cliques, including original 82 Headbangers, True Headbangers, Baby Headbangers, Queen Headbangers, SSG 800, and Dead Zone. Formed in the early 1990s, the gang initially identified as an Orange Rag crew before fully adopting the Blood identity. They were originally aligned with People Nation and incorporated elements of Vice Lord's Lit while developing their own distinct gang culture. Over time, the Headbangers consolidated smaller independent groups on Detroit's east side, eventually evolving into True Headbangers. As they grew, they embraced the Blood identity while still retaining some Vice Lord's influence. Their first major rivalry began with the Gangster Disciples after the deletion of one of their original members. As their numbers expanded, they became involved in conflicts with multiple gangs across Detroit and beyond. Despite their historical ties to the Vice Lords, the Headbangers ultimately established themselves as an independent renegade blood set, separate from traditional alliances. Today, the 82 Headbanger Bloods remain one of the most widespread and influential blood factions in Detroit and Michigan. Their influence extends into prisons and jails, where they control a large membership, often pressuring new inmates to join or face opposition. The gang continues to recruit heavily from local neighborhoods, maintaining deep roots in the community, with younger factions such as SSG and 800 operating in Harborside, Harper Ave area.
50 Zone, what you hearing about, baby? I was 6 years old. My older cousin blew his head off. All that gang shit. You gonna be up under the fucking jail getting gang on. I mean, it was united, but it was crazy. It's together.
You will never get a chance to with a nigga like me again. Now get off my cousin porch.
It's on the flow, man. We doing something for the community, for the hood. We giving them bikes back.
I'm just running up my pros. When I put my AP on, I doubled up my hoe. I ain't the blow man, I'm the snowman, cause I'm froze. I use both hands, I'm in the kitchen with the balls. Wanna count the money up, wanna cover up my nose. Walk straight out of jail, fresh enough to strike a pole.
50 Zone is a blood Piru, affiliated set based around Gratiot and Van Dyke. Originally known as the I-94 Pirus in 1997, the group transitioned into Bloods over time. The I-94 Pirus became Pirus through their connection to the Campanella Park Pirus, and to this day, some Campanella Park Pirus members remain within 50 Zone, including Sada Baby, although they now align under the 5 and identify as 5-5 Bloods. 50 Zone is clicked up with SMB and 700, forming strong alliances within Detroit's gang landscape. Tensions between 50 Zone and GMO escalated due to a specific situation, further deepening their conflicts. Murda Gang, also known as Sevens, Seven Flame, and Drench Gang, is a Blood and Piru affiliated set based in the Puritan and 7 Mile area. The group has gone through several identity changes over the years, initially forming as Hollow Boys before transitioning to Money Bros, Thor GG Jack Boys, and eventually Murda Gang. They were previously allied with Cell Gang, but tensions arose, leading to a fallout. One of Murda Gang's most well-known figures is Malski, a rapper who gained attention for being a lesbian artist rapping about street violence. She was close friends with K. Lil, another prominent member of the gang, who was tragically deleted in a broad daylight drive-by shooting. His demise drew widespread media attention, not only due to the brutal nature of the crime, but also because of the graphic images that circulated on social media. Despite the shocking loss, Murda Gang has not taken any significant retaliation, and their influence has gradually diminished over time.
Everybody in here, everybody in here, CMO, where everybody, don't worry about it. Let me see how hard it is. Let me see how hard this shit. All eyes being a cash is freaking down. Oh shit. That shit damn, Skillet. Damn. Skillet shouldn't play with them tweakers. He say yours. Skillet shouldn't play with them tweakers. He say yours.
Video that came out from Lando's studio of you getting into an altercation with Skillet Baby. What led up to that?
I can't even remember, man. This week I meet high as hell. I swear to God.
There was a story that basically like Skillet got into an altercation with your big brother at the club and ended up getting a fight with him, and that's what evoked that?
Hell no.
That's fake news?
Yeah, that's cap.
So what were you guys saying in that surveillance camera?
Man, I told you I'm so high this week, I don't remember.
So should I try to flesh this out a little bit more? Because allegedly it kind of spilled out into the parking lot after that, and there was a shot fired.
What?
No?
No, hell no. No, that's my dog.
3 or 4 guys approaching you in the studio. It looked like you were by yourself.
I really approached them, but I approached them. They know what happened. I know what happened. Everybody can say what they want about it. I would have did the same thing to me. For real, for real. I would have did the same thing to me if I approached me like I approached them. So it's 6-on-1.
You approached 6 guys?
If I see somebody, just like I just addressed that, I'm going to address it.
Yeah, I respect it.
No matter how many people you with, I don't really be thinking about that type of stuff. I know what my name hold out here.
Pop the perk. I can't say that no more. Let me do that back. Here go the ops right here. Here go right here. Here go right there. Here go them niggas right there, man. Free them twiggers.
GMO, Gang Members Only, also known as CMO, Certified Members Only, is a blood-affiliated clique based in the Dexter-Linwood area, specifically in the Number Streets. They are closely allied with DWBI. Don't worry about it, particularly the TOB and OGD factions. Members often refer to themselves as tweakers or pits, which have become signature identities within the set. GMO gained widespread notoriety after snatching Detroit rapper Skilla Baby's chain. The incident, where Skilla was approached unarmed and had his chain taken without resistance, was highly publicized. However, the situation later backfired when GMO Stax, one of the set's most well-known rappers, was jumped in retaliation. The fallout from this event raised questions about GMO's strength, as no clear retaliation followed. Before the chain snatching incident, GMO Stax had built a strong connection with Pooh Shiesty, appearing in songs and music videos with the Memphis rapper. This association boosted his clout, but after Pooh Shiesty's arrest and imprisonment, Stax's buzz faded. The Skilla Baby incident further hurt GMO's reputation, as some viewed it as a weak look for the set due to the lack of a strong response. GMO primarily drops 4s, but some members also drop 5s due to ongoing conflicts with East Side rivals. The Jungle Stone Bloods in this area trace their origins to both Chicago and Los Angeles, with many members aligning themselves with the Black P Stone Nation and the Jungle Stone Bloods from LA. Originally, they were active around 7 Mile and Telegraph, but their territory has been significantly pushed back due to the rise of W7M8 Trey gangster Crips, particularly Bequest or Score Gang Crips. Despite losing ground, they continue to represent BPS under the 5 and maintain a presence in the 7 Mile Rouge neighborhood, mainly around Shiawassee to Losser. Historically, the Black P Stones and Jungle Stone Bloods held a much larger territory and maintained a strong presence in the area. However, their influence has declined over time as younger and more active gangs, especially various Crip sets, have grown in numbers and strength. While their standing in the city has diminished, they remain part of the BPSN and continue to hold onto their legacy. Zone, also known as BMPC, Big Money Paper Chasers, is a 135 Piru set based in Detroit's Zone 8. Over time, they began identifying as Scotty Boys in honor of a fallen hood legend named Scotty. By the 2010s, the set also adopted the name Crud Team, further solidifying their identity within Detroit's gang landscape. Zone 8 is affiliated with both 135 Pirus, originally from Compton, and Rolling 80's Skyline Pirus from San Diego. Within the set, there are multiple cliques and subsets, including BMPC, Big Money Paper Chasers, Scotty Boys, and Crud Team, CD. Additionally, some members have known connections to DWBI. While Zone remains active in Detroit's Zone 8, their core members are believed to be older now, reflecting the evolution of the set over the years. Despite changes in leadership and identity, they continue to maintain a presence in the city, carrying on their legacy under multiple banners. The Rolling 80s Skyline Pirus are an established Piru set based in Detroit, affiliated with the Rolling 80s Skyline Pirus in San Diego. Their territory is centered around 8 Mile and Schaefer in the Lodge, key areas that have historically been significant to their presence. Unlike many other sets, the Skyline 80s are known for having no younger members, making them one of the older and more seasoned Piru factions in the city. Over the years, they were deeply involved in a violent rivalry with the 7 Mile Rolling 60s, a conflict that escalated and became a defining chapter in their history. This war intensified before the Rolling 60s were ultimately hit with a RICO indictment, largely due to their ongoing battle with 7 Mile Playboy gangster Crips. At their peak, the Skyline 80s were a feared and dominant force, successfully preventing the Rolling 60s from expanding their reach beyond 7 Mile to 8 Mile. However, As the 60s grew in numbers and continued to push their boundaries, the Skyline 80s gradually lost ground. Over time, this shift in power led to a decline in their influence, marking a turning point in the long-standing rivalry between the two sets. The Bloods of Detroit have cemented themselves as a major force in the city's gang scene, with deep-rooted histories and ongoing conflicts that continue to shape the streets. From the 55 7 Mile Bloods and 82 Headbanger Bloods to 50 Zone and Murda Gang, these sets have evolved over time, creating alliances, rivalries, and cultural movements that extend beyond Detroit. While gang life in Detroit remains volatile, the impact of these blood sets stretches beyond the streets. Many have influenced Detroit's rap scene, with artists like Sada Baby, Skilla Baby, and GMO Stacks using music to reflect their realities. Others have gained national recognition due to high-profile crimes, law enforcement crackdowns, and shifting power struggles. Despite the influence and fearsome reputations of these gangs, many of Detroit's blood sets have faced setbacks due to law enforcement operations, internal conflicts, and changing neighborhood dynamics. However, the 5X alliance and blood culture in Detroit remains deeply embedded, with new generations continuing to adopt these identities. As gang culture continues to evolve, the question remains, will Detroit's Bloods adapt and strengthen their hold, or will internal conflicts and external pressures lead to their decline? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, their presence in Detroit's underworld remains significant and ever-changing.